Hey, we're going to charge you up now. Before we get our wires crossed, we're talking electricity. You know, we farm in the 21st century now with the transistors and electronics and iPads, and your cell phone is fast and you love it. But you got to remember that it was just maybe 70 years ago or less that Grandpa and Grandma got the High Line coming to down the road. And, yeah, there's parts of the Dakotas that just 70, 75 years ago at the most got rural electric service. So that's pretty cool. And now some of those rural electric co-ops are going solar. One of them, Northern Plains Electric Co-op in Carrington, North Dakota, got offices Candu, Edgeley, Milner, Northern Plains, and Dakota Valley Electric Co-ops. Got a solar project going on. Darrin Sand joining us now from Northern Plains. Hello, Darrin.
Hi, Mick.
This is pretty exciting. Tell us, you had a big ribbon cutting yesterday, and tell us about the solar project you have there.
Yes, we have a new solar project that went up. Ours is a little bit different than some of the other ones that have gone up there in the last couple months or so, especially like the one down at Cass County over in Fargo. They are selling community solar, so a member can go out and buy a portion of a solar panel and have that show up on their bill, and they can get some renewable energy. Ours, we took a little different take on this. Ours is more of a research project. We put up a system that's about 6.5 kilowatts. That would be a typical system that you'd find on one of our average residential accounts if someone wanted to put one up at their house or their farm. And what we're trying to do is show our members how much it costs for us to install it, what type of payback that we're going to see on this, and to see if it would be right for them. So basically, we're going to go through all the hard knocks and find out all the bad things and the good things, and then let our members know about that. So if they're interested, they'll know what they're getting themselves into.
Awesome. Now, this ribbon cutting, though, that you had yesterday occurred on the longest day of the year. So a good day to start a solar project. But how about in December? Does it pay then? Well, that's
what we want to find out. We just got ours up and running this spring, so we haven't had a full year, especially over the winter months, to see what the output's going to be like. But we want to make sure that, yes, do you have to crawl up on you? If you put it on your roof, do you have to crawl up there in January, February and get snow off the panels? Dust, living on a country road, is the dust going to affect the connectivity of these things? So those are all the things that we want to find out and pass that information along to our members and anybody else that logs on to one of our websites to see what the output's doing.
All right. About 6.5 kilowatts, that's enough electricity to power 19 60-watt light bulbs. And if you got kids, you got most of those 19 on all the darn time.
Yes, you
do. Whose idea was this?
Well, one of our engineers, Ashton Brecken, had kind of come up with the idea. She pitched it to the boards of Dakota Valley and Northern Plains because we share management between those two cooperatives, and they thought it was a great idea. It just so happened that Northern Plains up in Carrington had a little spot of land fairly close to the office, so we could monitor it and where everything would fit, and that's just where it was decided that we were going to put this pilot project.
Okay. And now the electricity from there goes where?
It comes back to us at our headquarters in Carrington. We use whatever we can. If there is any extra that's left over, it does go back out on the grid, and will find its way down to your house or our neighbor's house or whoever happens to be the next person where those electrons make it to.
Yeah. Now, on a day like today, it's probably cranking out awesome amounts of electricity. I'm
sure it is. To be honest with you, I haven't looked at the website today to see what it's doing. We were a little bit worried yesterday, even though it was the longest day. It was very overcast yesterday morning when we were getting things ready for this, so we were hoping that the sun was going to come out, and luckily it did, so everything was a success yesterday.
Yeah, well, for all of us fair-skinned folks who have gotten a sunburn on a cloudy day, I think you probably were generating electricity yesterday too. So
yes, we were generating electricity. It is kind of neat to watch the fluctuation in the course of the day. On the graph that comes up on our website, you can see when the cloud cover comes over and the output kind of drops a little bit, especially if a rainstorm happens to be coming through. You can pretty much track the weather just by looking at what's going on with that output.
Now, is this on a website that's kind of in-house, or can other people look at it?
Anybody can get to it. It is on. You can either go to Dakota Valley unbiased.com or northernplains.com, and there'll be a link to the website.
And it'll put out in like watts, how many watts it's putting out at the moment?
Actually, it'll bring you up on a different screen. Mm-hmm. It will show the current output. There's several tabs across the bottom so you can see what it's doing today, what it did yesterday, what it's done for the last 3 days, the last week, month, year, or since its inception. Right now, the website's only been up for about a month, so we've only got about a month's worth of data on that.
Okay. Solar, great idea. They got them all over the place in Southern California and the desert Southwest, Arizona. They're cranking them, and Central South America, a lot of solar. Other parts of the world close to the equator, a lot of solar energy. And the sun puts out about, I think, 1,300 watts per square yard constantly here that comes into the earth. So to capture electricity, solar electricity, is I think, a very, very smart idea. So again, how would we utilize this? Is this a project that you only have one of them now, right?
We only have this one. We just, like I said, we just want to see what it's going to do, what the payback would be for our members. They're not going to make a lot of money selling electricity back to the grid. Where they're going to save money is on their electric bill, because whatever you generate, you're going to use first. If there's any extra, then it would go back onto the grid. So that's kind of where the cost savings comes in. Many, many years ago, when the wind turbines started popping up all over the place, that was the big seller that people came in and said, well, you're going to save all this money and then you can sell all the excess back onto the grid, and that just never materialized the way the salesman had told people it would. Right. One thing in North Dakota is the cooperatives, we don't have net metering at this point. Because we're member-owned, we don't have to follow or fall under the Public Service Commission's rules on that, like MDU or Otter Tail Power. Right. So we buy the power back at our retail cost.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good.
Or our wholesale cost, I'm sorry. So a lot of the times the salesman would say, yeah, well, you can sell it back for 8 cents. Well, that's not necessarily true. If you're on an IOUs, yes, it might be 8 cents. If you're on our lines, it's going to be more like 3.5 to 4.
All right. Well, the wind power, that's a big deal. It's all, we've got wind, big towers all across the country. And but solar, do you see this as this is not the solution, or it's not even the future? This is all supplemental, isn't it?
This is all supplemental at this point. As battery storage becomes better, I can see it being more of a, not say everyday occurrence, but more common across houses through our territory and through the state. The other thing we want to find out is this northern climate good for this type of technology? Like you mentioned, Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico, they get a lot of sun down south. Yeah. Are we going to have that same intensity sun when it's 40 below in the middle of January? Right. That's what we want to find out.
But with battery storage, even on a somewhat sunny day, even though the sun is low angle in the sky in December, you're going to crank up the battery and
hopefully, and then overnight we can use that storage in the battery to help feed the heater or the refrigerator, the TV, whatever you might have on at that particular time.
Or in December or January when the power goes out, the furnace will keep running because you got juice.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. Now, again, it's a research project, and how long has it been going on, and how long will it go on?
Well, we hope to have it go indefinitely. It just started up about a month ago, and once we got everything finalized. Late last fall, we had gotten all the equipment and got everything installed. We were just waiting on the ground to thaw up this spring so we could get the final trenching and get everything tied back into our system. Mm-hmm. So roughly about a month of what we have for data so far.
All right. Now, can anybody who are a member of the co-op, anybody buy one of these 6.5 kilowatt solar power generating systems?
They can. Uh-huh. They wouldn't buy it through us. Like I said, it's just a research project. We purchased our system through 10K Solar out of Minneapolis. They will sell their systems to anybody that would be interested in one. And there's several other companies out there that are doing the same thing, so I'm not going to plug one company over another one. We just wanted to see how things were going to work, and that's the company we chose.
Okay, all right. Northern Plains Co-op, also the Dakota Valley Electric Cooperative. It's co-ops. It's making things work. It's hey, you're pushing the envelope. Thank you, Darrin, for doing what you're doing. And if people tell us where to get more information on your website.
www.dakotavalley.com, www.northernplains.com, and if you want to call the 800 number, it's 800-882-2500. And they'll be able to put you in touch with Ashton or one of the folks that can give you more information on all the technical specs on what our system does.
All right, Darrin Sand, thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too, Mick.